Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I want to talk to you guys this morning concerning Eddie Hearn. He did a raw tell-it-all interview with IFL. And like he promised, he said that he would expose Ortiz and their claim that they were being lowballed, okay? And he went from the start to beginning, so let's go through that so I can break down and counterpunch this. He says that when the Miller incident broke, when Miller popped dirty, he said it was two people that called him. One was Don King, regarding his fighter, Trevor Bryant, and two was Jay Jimenez, of course, with Luis Ortiz. And Ortiz was first to the list, okay? And when he talked to Jay Jimenez was like, well, man, I don't believe that Luis Ortiz would be ready, you know? And he said, okay, well, Eddie told him to check with Luis and see if will this be enough time. At this time, it was 6 weeks, okay? Mind you. Then he says the first offer is $6 million, okay? That was the first offer. And from the first offer, he said he didn't get a reply until later that night at 2 a.m., okay? So this was Thursday when they had that initial conversation, okay? So Friday morning, Friday morning at 2 a.m., Jay Jimenez said $6 million. Luis Ortiz said $6 million was enough. It was good, but send us an offer if they believe you're serious, because, you know, we want to make sure this is a go before we put Luis Ortiz in training and all that. So Eddie sent over an offer, okay? He sent over some offer details that inclined, you know, if he won, you know, how much money to secure a second fight with AJ and all that. And he told him but what happened, Jay Jimenez said, well, let me get with the promotional company. That sounds good to me and Luis Ortiz, okay? Let me get with his promotional company and see if that's okay. And then he didn't receive anything. Okay. He didn't hear back from Jimenez. So by this time, it's Monday. Monday, he said, okay, what's the deal? You know, is $6 million the deal? And then he had a second offer. Eddie Hearn had a second offer for $7 million. Now, mind you, to keep in mind of Miller versus what Ortiz was getting, that was pretty much in parallel, pretty much the same, you know, because, you know, I think Miller would have got maybe 8 after the DAZN, because DAZN had to pitch in to get Miller on board, mind you. This money was coming from AJ, okay? So he was offered $7 million. So the $7 million for between Monday and Tuesday morning, that's when King Kong's account on Instagram, they posted that post like, sorry guys, June 1st is no go. You know, we wanted to make this fight. A lot of people use the name, was told to be hush-hush about this, which Eddie Hearn told him, hey, let's keep this between us to get this deal made. He told Jay Jimenez that, okay? So, after that news broke, Eddie Hearn screenshotted that Instagram post and sent it back to Jay Jimenez. And he was like, really? You know? And Jay Jimenez was like, man, they said it wasn't enough, but, you know, we thought it was enough, but they said, the promotional company said that it was a no-go, and then they make the final call at the end of the day. So what happened after that pissed Eddie off, because then Eddie, you know, because of that post, because it said, you know, in that post that Joshua was lowballing people. And if you know the history about Dillian White and Deontay Wilder, and, those two have already made a bad reputation or a bad stigma on Joshua as far as negotiations. So to hear someone once again say that Joshua was lowballing people pissed Eddie off. So Eddie, like he said last week, hey, I'm going to expose Team Ortiz like he did in this video. Well, then Jay Jimenez comes out and says, hey, we admit we dropped the ball. It wasn't really our fault. It was up to promotional company's fault. Me and Luis Ortiz thought it was enough. And that's kind of what I heard. Wasn't exactly what I heard last week. What I read, basically. It wasn't what I read. But he says, Jay Jimenez says that him and Ortiz was aboard for that money. But it was up to the promotional company. Now, that lies a whole different question. But my question would be, me counterpunching this, seeing all this information, who in the hell was in charge of the account of Luis Ortiz? You see what I'm saying? If it wasn't Luis Ortiz himself posting this, who the hell was? Was it the promotional company? And that goes to show you like how much control that these people have, or these fighters really have over their own careers. I keep telling people that. Like, it's strange to me that this promotional company, I forget his promoter's name, but why they would turn down that type of money and one hand wouldn't let the other hand know what's going on. Like, how can Jay Jimenez and Luis Ortiz be on board? But then last week I read that Luis Ortiz didn't even know what the amount was. So I'm like, okay, well, how are you supposed to really convince us to know that you didn't know the amount? But then, Jay Jimenez knew the amount, but then he said it's not up to him because he's the manager, and the promotional company turned it down. So you guys are not all in one sync, and you need to get a different promotional company, period. Me counterpunching that, because there's no way that I'm going to let, if I'm a manager, I'm going to let some promotional company that is kind of in the backdrop, because up until now, I just thought it was Jay Jimenez and then Al Heyman, which more than likely it kind of is. Al Heyman kind of sits like overseeing a lot of stuff, and then I'll get to him later. But it's like his promotional company turned it down, and for what reason? You know what I mean? And were they the reason for this posting? Did they have that type of control over his social media like that? So the first offer was $6 million. The second offer was $7 million. And the $7 million was the final offer. He was like, that's more like, hey, take it or leave it. That's the offer. And they actually agreed to it, but then their promotional company didn't. So that's what we have with that. Mike Hunter, that wasn't the fight because he was a smaller guy, and he would be moving around a lot. It wasn't a bad style matchup, so they really didn't go there. Trevor Bryant, with Don King, I think they asked for like $9 million, so they priced himself out. Okay. Manuel Char, he didn't want to, Manuel Char is not really on that level. He would get knocked out. And Ruiz is just coming off a win, so that's why he decided to pick Ruiz, and then the demographic, he's Mexican. So, DAZN has a lot of Mexican fans now because of Canelo signing to DAZN, along with Oscar De La Hoya, and a lot of that stable now. So a lot of them fight on DAZN, as a default. Okay. So it was a good matchup with that. Adam Kalnaki, he didn't have enough time or whatnot. So, that's what we have with that. So looking back on the overview on all this, it comes from unprofessionalism. Okay. It comes from not knowing your own business. You don't know. You have to know each process of what's going on from the people that are ahead of you, you are in control of you, are in charge of your career. It's but $7 million, dude, that was way over 5. So the 5 million came out, and everyone keeps saying 5, and I'm like, where the hell does 5 million come from? So that was like some type of made up offer, because it wasn't even 5, it was 6 million. Like Eddie said, he said it was more than 5 million. It was 6 million. Then it was 7 million. So, and of course 10 million they say they asked for. Maybe the promotional company did. Maybe they wanted to milk that for what it's worth, and businessmen will not go for that, especially if they have other fighters that are probably, for one, less dangerous, for two, cheap. Yeah, cheaper. So, you're looking at it like, okay, why would I pay you this amount of money when I can pay this other guy that amount of money? And that's what it really came down to. And then really that post fucked everything. That post that whoever put up on King Kong Ortiz's account destroyed any negotiation. Because I think, but I do find it funny, like, Eddie, this pissed him off. Maybe it was a result of all these lowball accusing offers that they made. Maybe he got up to here with it. You guys know how many interviews Eddie does concerning what he offers people, what he didn't offer people. It's not enough. I want more. And it's crazy because I can see, but I'm surprised he didn't do that with Deontay Wilder. Because if it would have been me and all the shit that Deontay Wilder talked and all the interviews that he was in, he didn't just do posts. He did actual videos blasting Eddie Hearn. That should have put him over the top right there. You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, I guess that plus Dillian White's incident plus the Miller falling out because of drugs, then on top of Luis Ortiz accusing him of lowballing, I guess I could understand that blowing his top. You know what I'm saying? So I think that freaking allergies are crazy, man. I think that really pushed him over the edge, but I am glad that he did have actual numbers, because I hate when people say, oh, well, I don't want to get into money. No, that's what this is about. This is exactly about money. It's all about money. It's called prize fighting. Okay. So I'm glad that he was able to expose him, even though Jay Jimenez and Luis Ortiz came out like, hey, we didn't know. We said yes. No. It didn't matter, because he still has to do, for one, he did what he said he was going to do. For two, he gave us concrete numbers of what he was offered. You can't get any better than that, okay? He broke down the process of what happened from this time after Miller popped dirty to that time when, Luis Ortiz and all these guys supposed to have been, in negotiations, along with other guys, part of that negotiation process, and picking which one to, who they're going to fight or whatever. But that's just me breaking it down. Of course, I'll leave the link below. It's a long interview. Well, it's not too long. It's about 30 minutes. So if you got 30 minutes, I'll leave the link below. Let you guys check it out. Tell me what you think about it. So $7 million was offered to Luis Ortiz, final offer. You guys tell me, was that enough? Was that more than enough? I mean, I want to know everyone's insight. I want the pro Wilder guys. I want everything. I want to know what you guys think about this particular offer offered to Team Ortiz. But anyway, this is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. Please subscribe, and you guys been counterpunched. Peace.